I'm Michelle Graves, your host on today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm glad to have you here. Now, at The Power of Money, we are interested in three things happening. First, we want you to get the necessary education so that you and your family can make the decisions that will impact positively on you in your financial life. The second thing is that you be empowered to prosper. I only want the best for you. And you can only get that if you have education and then the drive to make it happen. And the third thing that is so important to me is that you recognize that life is more than a journey, and that you be energized so that you can begin to participate in the truly joyous experience of living. So here's to empowerment, here's to education, and here's to energy. I'm Michelle Graves, your host, Power of Money, and here we go. And here we go. It's so good to have all of you, my faithful viewers, over the last, I guess, almost 30 years, if you can believe that. That's kind of scary, but it's all good because I've had the opportunity to interview so many people over the years. And of course, these last 7+ years at DATV out of Dayton, Ohio, and they are a wonderful team of people, absolutely wonderful. Couldn't I ask for a better group? But I've continued on this journey of exploration and exposing you, my viewers, to people of all walks of life who've done, in my opinion, extraordinary and exceptional things in my industry, which is financial services, insurance, banking, real estate, as well as other industries. It's just been such a joy. And today is no exception. I have in the studio a most remarkable woman. And when I say that, take me at my word, because I've talked to all kinds of people, and she's right at the top. I was able to literally get her to come because she is gone so much from this area, and I'm just delighted to have her on for the next hour. She is my definition of the modern Renaissance woman. This is a phenomenon that is taking place right before your eyes, where if you read the papers, if you're on social media, you know that women, strong, powerful women of all ages, are leaping forth and dominating in sports, in achievements, in finance. It's our season. And guys, don't take offense. All things have to change. That's a law of physics. So I wanted to bring on this set, this woman, and have her share with you her life story, her experiences, what makes her, in my opinion, extraordinary and exceptional as a modern Renaissance woman. So without further ado, I'm going to go on and introduce her, and we're going to go on and just enjoy ourselves. She is such a delight. Karlene Krista.
Hi.
How are you?
Great. I'm great. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here. What do I say to a woman who I so admire and have admired? Why don't you go back and give us your background?
Let's see. I started out working several jobs. Then I was able to go to college. I worked at Cinco Products.
Now, what did you major in at college?
Well, that's what I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
When I worked at Cinco Products, I saw how big, and I knew where the company was going. Actually, at the time, it was a Fortune 500 company.
Okay.
And so I went 9 years to night school, became an
goodness.
industrial engineer.
You became an engineer.
Yes, and I majored in facilities planning.
Oh my goodness.
I worked there for 23 years. Then, my whole life, I wanted to be a police officer. As long as I can remember, I wanted to be a police officer. And so I met some person when he was my study partner in college, okay. And we got to know each other quite well. And he was going to be part of a police department. He was the city safety director.
Okay.
And I told him what I always, that would have been my dream, to be a police officer. And he said, well, I might be able to help you because the city at that time didn't have a woman, and they needed to hire a woman and hire a black.
Okay.
So I talked to him at some length, and I decided they sponsored me through the police academy.
You went to a police academy.
Yes. While working my full-time job.
Okay.
And going to night school. I did all of those things
At the same time.
at the same time.
That's extreme multitasking.
Yes, but you do what you have to do, you
Yes,
know.
right. Right.
So then I left my job after, excuse me. I left my job after 23 years at Senco and was hired at the Blue Ash Police Department. And
Blue Ash, Hamilton County. Oh,
yes,
Okay.
Blue Ash, Ohio.
okay, because the show airs all over.
Oh,
That's why I want
yes.
to make sure. Okay.
It's a city in itself, so
Okay.
it's not part of Cincinnati.
Okay.
And I worked there for probably around 21 years as a
Yes.
police officer.
You worked as a police. Stop
Yes.
right there. That's a whole nother story. First female,
First female,
City of Blue Ash.
City of Blue Ash. First engineer,
First engineer.
Senco Products.
So you know what it's like to be a first as a female.
Yes, I do. And none of it was easy. None of it.
I would have to say, to be an engineer is a very structured environment.
Yes. And when I did work for Senco, they backed me 100%. They gave me study time. They paid for my college.
Oh
They
my
did
goodness.
everything for me.
Okay.
And when I went to the police academy, that's kind of when my life really changed, because the woman that I thought I was, being an engineer, is not the woman that I was when I became a police officer.
Really?
No.
What was the difference?
I realized being a police officer, and especially a woman, first of all, the mentality was different. I moved out of the box that I lived in, being an engineer.
Okay.
And so I was introduced to so many things, and my whole life, what I thought, the way I thought, it changed. It all changed.
Because you entered into the arena of law enforcement, or because you were a female?
Because I worked with all males who hated, let me take that. I don't want to use the word hate, it's too strong. They hadn't been exposed to a woman with intelligence, someone that knew what she wanted and went after it,
Okay.
wasn't used to taking orders from men.
Okay.
And I was always treated as a lesser person than and the good thing about all of that, never once did I ever lose sight of who I was. That was the important thing. Now, I have to tell you, it was difficult at times,
I can only imagine.
and they always were prompting me to, you need to find another job. You're really not wanted here. And so that was difficult, but I worked with a group of men that were old-time law enforcement.
Okay. Old
And that
schoolers.
old school. And that was the big difference. The longer I stayed, the better conditions got for me, because we brought in not just younger people, but more educated people into the field.
I
and
believe that's key.
yes,
Younger,
younger,
more educated.
more educated, more open-minded.
Well,
You
that's
know,
a part of the youth expression. One would hope that because they are young, they look at life as a much more vivid expression than your oldsters who've been doing the same thing forever and are perhaps not as open to something that shows up on the scene that's different.
right.
I won't even say new, it's just
Well,
different.
I always looked at it in police work. You know, just because you're a cop doesn't mean you're tough.
Right.
And I brought something to the police department they didn't have. And that was, not to say these people weren't kind, but you start off being kind with whatever situation you're dealing with, because you can always change that attitude.
Right.
But once you go in with a bad attitude, you can never turn that around.
Really?
No, not as a police officer.
Why is that so?
Well, think about it. You know, all of a sudden you pull somebody over, they get smart with you, and if you approach them nicely, you know, you tell them what the problem is. Sir, let's talk about this. But if you go in there mean, you can't
set
ever
the
be
scene.
nice.
I got it.
See?
I got it.
Once you set the pace of the situation, then there's no turning back. So, and I had a great way with the kids in the community. I solved a lot of crimes in that area, and I also I listened to the kids, and the kids that I'm mostly talking about we had a area in Blue Ash that was pretty much, I want to say, the black neighborhood, and for a white woman to be down there.
That's unusual.
Yeah, but
I
you
think
know,
in that time period.
yeah, it was. But then I talked about their music. I asked them to teach me to dance. And on Sundays I would go down there and we would dance in the streets.
Yes.
And, I mean, it was a fun thing. And when I weigh the whole situation, I love being a police officer. But if I had to do it over again, I thought about this long and hard. I used to say no, but it brought me to it brought me to where I am today as a human being, as a woman. The strength that it gave me, the insight, the awareness, it did so much for me.
I'm sure.
All that I thought that I was before, because of my accomplishments, that really was immaterial. I was capable of so much more than I ever thought that I was. So
Through this police work.
through police work.
Well, I think it is absolutely, we are at a critical point in our country's history right now, because the police are getting an awful lot of exposure, media, good and bad, but mostly not so good.
I know.
Mostly not so good, Karlene.
I know, but I have to tell you this. Even the police department, the people that I work for, I had a lot of respect for them, because, you know, when you know better, you do better.
You do better.
They didn't know better. You know, I'm talking about the old-timers, you know,
Right,
the old school. They really didn't.
They only knew a system
And
that
that's
worked
it.
for them.
And there was no changing for them. So,
That is such an absolute statement. You said there was no changing for them.
no.
So the only hope that we have with regard to law enforcement on that level is to let them retire or die.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. But I'll tell you what I think. I think law enforcement gets a bad rap because all you ever hear is what the bad things happened. and of course, a lot of what you read happens to black people, but I think they still get a bad rap because I believe, or I knew at one time, I don't know what it is today, even though I'm still a commissioned police officer.
You are still
Yes,
a
I'm
commissioned...
still a commissioned police officer.
Which means?
That at any time, the department that commissions me can call me in and ask for help. And doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be in a uniform, but whether it's investigative, help with parades, help with anything they need me for.
You can come in.
I go in, yes.
Oh my gosh.
But I want to finish my statement about, I don't think, less than 0.1% of the police officers in the United States are not what they should be.
Okay.
And so if you think about what you hear in the news media as compared to how many thousands and thousands of police officers there are, it's nothing compared to any other walk of life, you know?
Right.
So for me, it was quite a learning experience. And
Well, can I ask, did you ever have to pull a gun?
everybody asks that.
I have to because...
Yes,
Yes?
yes, but I never had to use it.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, yes, I had. But, and if your next question is going to be, was I ever hurt?
Yes?
Yes, I was punched and kicked and spit on, and that's part of the job. I can't say that's happened to everyone, but it happened to me.
Okay.
And from that you learn. And
So what do you learn?
what did I learn?
To avoid people that will punch and kick and
No,
spit?
everybody has a personal space.
Okay.
And for me, anything here is a personal space. Now, I can maintain that throughout my life and my daily life.
Okay.
But when you're a police officer and you're arresting someone and they're a drunk or abusive or whatever the case may be, they're in your space.
Ah.
So
Ah.
it sheds a whole new light. But the first time you're kicked or punched, you learn. You know, you step back some. I mean, every situation is different, but it's a really, really, really big thought process that you have to go through when you make an arrest or when you're dealing with somebody that's out of control. So,
Do you know when they're out of control?
oh yes, but there are those that all of a sudden go into a rage, and then you have to be prepared for that.
Wow.
I have always said I would rather deal with anybody under any situation, now I'm talking about me only,
Okay.
than to have to deal with a drunk.
Who, really?
Yes. That for me, those are the people that cause me the worst problems. Those are the ones you can't trust. Those are the ones in high society of life. Those are the ones that are just plain drunks in whatever walk of life.
Right.
You don't know. You don't know. Because for me, those are the ones that I always fear. And to this day, I don't like being around drunks. It's
Because of their...
what they're capable
what
of.
they're capable of.
And they're just pathetic way, you know. So
Well, now they're saying it's a disease.
it is a disease. Yes, it is. That's the truth. And I can tell you what the disease is.
What is it?
This is what we're taught in the police academy. You can drink 3 cases of beer a day.
Okay. 3
you're-
cases of beer a day.
You're
That's
not-
a lot of beer.
Well,
yeah, but...
let's just say.
Okay.
Or, okay, say a quart, 3 quarts of beer, whatever. It isn't the amount that you drink. When you
Okay.
drink that much, you become an alcohol abuser.
Oh.
That's what you are. But if you drink one shot of liquor, one bottle of liquor, 1, 2 of anything, and you become mean, that's the disease.
Oh my goodness.
That's when you have the gene.
It's the meanness.
It's the meanness that is the disease.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
And you see this.
Yes. Yes.
They become mean,
Violent.
violent.
In a lot of cases, yeah. Their meanness. I mean, you know, it's all abusive. That's what they are. So, but lots of times I've been to places where somebody's drunk, having a good time,
Yeah,
happy, happy.
Right.
You know they're drunk, but
They're not mean.
They're not mean.
Okay.
They're
That's
alcohol
something,
abusers.
that's a takeaway for me,
Yeah.
because I don't drink. I may have an occasional wine, but I have seen the shift. I've seen where people go from partying to becoming mean
That's the disease.
and nasty, and that's the disease component. Viewers, did you all catch that? Because that's pretty significant, at least for my learning. It is.
Most people don't know that. Most people don't realize that.
Excuse me.
And people hearing this probably won't even believe it. But that's what it is.
So may I ask you, as a female, when you look at women out here today, and I know that at one time you were teaching women how to protect themselves.
Yes, in the police academy, I taught how not to be a victim of violent crime. I probably, in my career, have taught close to 2,000 people.
Oh my goodness.
Plus, I've taught at the UC Community College.
Okay.
I did that for a couple of years.
To teach women how to protect themselves,
No, how not
to be a victim.
a violent crime.
How
But-
do you do that? I mean, if a person is out to get you, how do you know?
Well, first of all, it's about how you carry yourself.
Okay.
You know, when somebody picks you as a victim,
They pick you?
lots
Oh,
of people,
my God.
yeah,
Okay.
they pick you
They pick you as
because
the one.
as the woman that they want to encounter. And they can tell just body language is everything.
So can you give me an example of that
Sure.
from your perspective?
Well, number one, let's say a woman walks to her car from a mall.
Okay, this is Christmas coming, so
Right.
a lot of women walking.
You got your hands full, you got your purse, and most women walk slumped over like this.
Okay.
Instead of like this.
Yeah.
This is the way we need to walk. This is a person with attitude,
Okay.
mental attitude.
Okay.
And the second big thing is awareness.
Okay.
Women get so wrapped up in everything they do, all the things that they have to do, that they don't become aware
What's going on?
of going on around them. When I walk to my car, even if it's to my parking lot at home, I don't just walk to my car. From a distance, I kind of look, is there anybody
do it.
under the car?
Okay.
Like so, to the side of the car. And lots of times, if I can't see in front of my car, I'll go to the front of my car, see if anything's around me. Now, you might say, that's a crock. People don't do that. But yes, they do. Because when you do that all the time, it's part of who you are.
Right.
And you know,
Self-love. I'm protecting myself.
I'm protecting myself. I'm aware of my surroundings.
Yes.
And then before I open that car door, I look. What's in the back seat? What's in the front seat? And then I'm good to go.
Okay.
But if you're the woman who walks to the car, is fussing for her keys, got her hands full, let alone having a child with her.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah.
You're the perfect pick.
Ah,
Either for somebody to come up, grab your bags, grab your purse. You know, I mean, there's just so many things. Another thing we teach people, when I say we, I mean, my husband helped me. He was in law enforcement also, but he didn't need to be. We
Okay.
created this,
Okay.
you know, class, and he always is there helping me. Anything that empowers women, my husband is there with me for.
that is so amazing.
It is. It
I
really
mean, that
is.
really,
It
that
is.
he's a Renaissance man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Yes. So the other thing, a lot of people, when your driver's license, people don't realize that your driver's license has your life on it.
It does?
Here's your social security number.
Well, it used to. They took that off.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I haven't got my new driver's
Oh,
license,
yeah, okay.
but I never ever had it put on anyway.
Okay.
All right. The other thing is where you live. My address on my driver's license is the address of the police department.
You have the address of the police department.
Yeah. But the reason being is somebody takes it, they don't know where I am. I have my date of birth on there. You know, they know every single thing about me. And people say, well, it's against the law. You have to put your address. Well, let me tell you, they say that's lying. Well, no, it isn't.
You're protecting yourself.
Because, yes, and if the police pull you over, you can always say, that's not my address. And that's,
Okay.
or they'll tell by your driver's license if you're driving your own car.
Okay.
But something that you could use that has all your information on it.
Too much.
And I always tell people that when they say you lie, I say, well, you always lie about your weight, don't you, on your license?
Right.
So, I mean, it's just a multitude of things we teach
I
people.
never thought of, but you're correct.
Yeah,
It does have
everything.
everything. And right there.
Right.
And if they steal your stuff, they can find you.
Well, sure.
Uh,
Sure. I mean, they know. But there's just so many ways a woman needs. I mean, we did also a hands-on with them and showed them certain things that they could do, which was when, I'll just give you just a couple examples. When you're grabbed from behind, the very first thing you want to do is pull forward to get away.
right.
That's not what you do. When they grab you, you push backwards and knock them off balance and then run.
Ah,
Or you reach up and grab their
Their
nose
nose.
holes, or you put your fingers in their eye, or if they're facing you, you grab their eyes and try to pull their eyes out. I
Right.
mean, that sounds awful.
but if they're trying to kill you.
Right. That
I
sounds extreme.
mean,
No.
I don't think so. There are women that have disappeared permanently. The number of women in this country.
I just read that
Do
yesterday.
you not know the number of women that have been just straight out snatched and never seen again?
I believe yesterday, my husband put something on the internet. There are 65,000 black women missing in the
Yes.
United States.
Yes, right now.
Right this minute. Right this
Snatched.
minute, right.
How did you go? You go to the store and they never see you again.
That's exactly right.
So I think what you're talking about, Karlene, is very relevant. I have a 45. I got a 45 a long time ago because I'm single, because I was out at night, and I just start picking up funny stuff. You know what I'm saying? I was at a grocery store maybe 2 months ago, and there was a van parked next to mine. And awareness, you're looking, and one woman came out. Now, this is at 10 at night, and the other two kind of piddled around, and I found myself going for my gun. And I said to myself, whatever you're doing, you better keep doing. Because if you come, and so what the one woman finally did say, she rolls her window down and she says, "What are you looking at?" And I was aware at that time, Karlene, that was not a woman. That was a man dressed up like a woman. And when I looked at them, and I did not answer, I simply turned my head to start my car and to leave. But they careened off ahead of me. But they didn't really careen off. They parked in front of that huge store. Parked right there and sat there. And I said, I'm watching something I don't want to see. And I need to protect myself. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, personally, every woman should own a weapon, a firearm. And if you're afraid of that or afraid to use it, well, let me say something about that. If you own one,
Yes.
get training.
Right. Go to the
And
range.
then once you get the training, don't forget about it. Go to the firing range. Practice. Just like you open your wallet and take your money out, that's how comfortable you should be with a weapon that you own.
Okay.
You know, always carry mace. Even to this day, I always carry a weapon with me, but I always have mace in my car. Get it at lots of,
Yeah.
I don't want to name brand.
Yeah, but I have mace. I went to
always
Dick's
have
and got
mace.
mace.
Always have something to protect yourself with. Because I'll tell you something about a woman and the way she thinks. If a woman thinks she can't do it, if a woman thinks she's going to die in the process, she is.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, she is. Because that's what she thinks.
Right.
You can't be any more than who you think you are.
That's something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is absolutely something.
And so my attitude is, if you want me, number one, call for help. I don't care if it's Marine Corps, I don't care what it is, call for help. Because this is never going to happen. You are never going to harm me in any way.
I love that.
And that's the mentality that you have to have.
Right.
And I mean that with women who are in abusive situations, who feel like they can't get out.
Yes.
Whatever, that attitude needs to be with you in every walk of life that you're in. It has to be a part of who you are. I think the trouble with a lot of women, not all women, is women don't realize how great they are. They, you know, it's just, I don't know what to say about that. I'm going to say you have it or you don't, or that might say, like, you sound conceited. I don't care what you think I sound like. I know who I am. I know my capabilities. And I know that in any given situation, I'll know how to act or react, you know. So.
Well, I think it's fair to say that you have been highly trained and skilled. What you're talking about is something that many women, particularly in our age group, struggle with, which is, who am I? Who do I relate to? How do I get through this, particularly as we get older?
Well, yes, but let me say this. Let's bring this out. You and I have had conversations over the years.
Yeah.
And you don't need special training. Training is only good when you have the confidence and the awareness to use that training. I'm happy I had that training, but you also have to know what your capabilities are.
Okay.
You know, you have to, you could go to all that training in the world.
Right.
And people say you have it, but if you don't know how to use it, if you mentally aren't prepared to use that, what good is it?
You're correct.
It's like owning a gun. If you don't have, you have to believe that I have this gun and it's for my protection and only my protection.
Right.
But if you don't have that mentality, throw the gun away.
Right.
Really,
Right.
what good is
What
it?
good is it?
It actually becomes somebody could take it away from you,
Yep.
and they could use it on you.
Yeah.
So it's all about self-confidence, awareness, knowing who you are, and I don't know how you teach people that.
I don't either.
I think
don't either.
maybe sometimes through the school of hard knocks, it's what a woman's been through in her life, whether it's child abuse, whether it's abuse in the marriage. Something traumatic happened to that woman along the way. Or somebody who never had to worry about having a clue about anything.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
Right.
I
and
hope
I see that a lot, of more so when I look at women in my daily activities, and they just going about their way. And I want to say, in so many ways, you need to be more aware of who you are, more conscious of who you are, and basically look at life for what it is, neither good nor bad, but I'm in this and I'm in it to win it. Not as a conversation, but as an actuality. I'm in it to win it, and I'm going to protect myself. That's what I'm concerned as I look at younger women today, and particularly as I've crossed over into my 60s and look at where our younger women are, and they say a lot of things glibly. You know, I got that, and I'm like, do you?
yeah,
Do you? Or it's okay, and I mean, just relationally, the casual way with social media, to engage in a conversation with a stranger and then proceed to invite that stranger to meet you. I mean, you just, I don't have an answer here, but I do know that you do not engage with people you don't know. For the sake of saying, I got, you know, me and him are doing this meetup. No, we're not.
No.
No, we're not. Oh, Miss Graves, you're being a little bit intense. Intense is when they can't find your body.
Exactly.
Your family saw you go one direction and poof, nothing. Period. You're halfway across the country with somebody you don't know who's raping you and doing everything.
The problem with, I think, people in general, they don't realize how many crazies there are out there.
Is it that bad? You
Do I think it is
Yes,
that bad?
yeah.
I do. Yes, I do. They're everywhere. You know, the boundary. It's. I always say this. It's like the bad guy. Mm-hmm. If we knew what they look like, they'd all be in jail.
Yeah.
But crime doesn't know race, color, creed, man, woman. It knows nothing. It's everywhere. And everybody, I mean, it's the people that you least it's the people that you least suspect.
Okay.
So that's why it's so important to keep your arms, your personal space to yourself, and just to learn how to live in the moment, be aware of everything that you do. It's just, I have something on my arm. Mm-hmm. I got it probably about
Just for today.
Just for today.
Yes.
This is
I like that tattoo. That's nice.
This is how I try to live my life.
Just for today.
Just for today. That's all we have.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
Just for today.
We have this moment now, but when I go home, I don't know. You don't know when this moment will stop. Mm-hmm. Those are things that we don't have control over. So if you learn to live in the now, and just for today, your life is so much better. It's easier.
Easier. I was going to say
easier.
it's easier.
Yeah.
So in your, I know you're now doing private investigation.
I have been since
Yeah.
2003. Yes.
And how has that been?
Well, everybody thinks that's a glorified job, and it is. It's a great job because you meet a lot of people, you do a lot of things, but it isn't like what you see in the movies.
Uh-huh.
It could be. I mean, I always work with a partner. Well, let me take that back. On big cases, I work with
Okay.
a partner.
Okay.
But lots of things I do on my own, whether it's trying to catch a husband cheating on his wife, or oh God, I can't. I don't want to get into any cases
I
of
know,
what
I
I
know,
do,
right.
but it's all interesting. But it requires a lot of man hours and a lot of sitting in the car and a lot of
Watching people.
But it's all very interesting. And once again, it's another way to
Now,
look.
they're aware of you.
Not always. No, they shouldn't be. I wouldn't be doing my job if
They were aware of you.
No.
I was just curious, would a person know they're being watched?
Oh,
I had that actually happen to me.
well,
Well, I
were
was
you
be-
aware?
I was not aware until
And why?
I was aware. And then when I was aware, I did not know what to do. How to sever that. So what I did do was I drove to the police station. I did.
That's good.
I drove to the
When
police
in doubt,
station.
always drive to the police
Police
station.
station.
Always, always, always.
I was like, wait a minute. I keep running into this car. And it didn't matter what way I went. I was always running into this car with a male driving and a white guy. And I didn't like it. When I became aware, I got uncomfortable. And when I got uncomfortable, I said, well, I'll see if he'll follow me to the police station. Now, this had been going on. And he didn't. When I turned into the police station, he'd gone off.
Did you get his license plate
I
number?
did not get his license plate number, but he never, retrospectively, I probably should have, but I did not know. Karlene, I didn't know what to do. I just said, I'm going in this police station and I'm not budging. And they were very cordial and they asked the same question. Did you get his license number? And I said, you know what, when you're in the heat of stuff, many times you move into a survival mode.
Yes.
And you don't think about, I should have got his license. I did give a descriptive of the car. It was a Beamer, but I did not get the tag. I should have.
And the sad thing about it is then there's no way to ever catch this guy.
Yeah, because I'm
You
sure he
know.
went on to find somebody else that he could.
Or maybe not.
Or
Maybe he
maybe-
would just want you.
Oh, that's just so gratifying. Oh, geez.
Maybe you fit the
The-
description.
the
Maybe the way you carried yourself.
And
Maybe,
they
maybe.
put that in their head
Yes.
and begin to find that.
Because people don't follow one car and say, "Oh, I think I'll follow another car." You know,
They just trail it.
right? There was a reason for that in his mind.
In his mind. Let me say, viewers, for those of you that are female and listening, please hear Karlene carefully. And like I said, I just gave a testimony for myself. Please, whatever you do, take care of you. It doesn't matter what's happening with everybody else when you're in a box or you've disappeared. You're a mother, you're a wife, you're a sister. All these you are's mean nothing if you're not here. And sadly, but truthfully, we are in desperate and terrible times. I've never seen the like. Isn't that a fair statement? Have you ever seen times like these? As in your role in law enforcement, have you seen anything as bizarre as what we're seeing today?
In law enforcement, yes, I have.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Yes,
I
you
have.
have.
Yes, I
Yes,
have.
you have.
Yes, just when you think this is as bizarre as
As
it
it
can
could
get, something happens. It's the truth.
Jeez.
Yeah, it really is.
So people are what they are. And you just simply have
Well, People
what
are what we perceive them to be.
Yes,
Yes.
because behind the little,
Like I said, if we knew what the bad guys look like.
we would have them all in jail.
Yeah.
That is so incredible. So you're doing this PI work, and I know you take time off to enjoy the sun on the East Coast.
Yeah.
While it's still there, enjoy it.
Yes.
While it's still
Yeah.
there, enjoy it.
I worked so many jobs and have done so many things.
Because you were in the beauty business, which you do wonderfully.
Yes, when I retired, even though I still work as a PI, I had another job after I retired from the police department. I put on lashes.
Yes.
And I was very successful at that. I also became a trainer, and it was rewarding, but it was enough.
I got you.
It was enough, you know. I did it for several years, and but before I retired, my husband and I had a plan, and we were going to travel.
Oh, wonderful.
And my husband retired at an early age. I mean, he was of age.
Yeah, but he was young.
He was young. And so that's what we've been doing. And we travel probably 5-6 months out of the year.
All over the world.
All over the world. In 2 weeks, we'll be going to Antarctica,
Oh my God.
Patagonia, yes.
You're
yeah.
going to Antarctica.
Yes, yes. It'll
By
be,
boat?
yes.
Yes.
Yes. We decided to do that instead of other ways, trying to put it all together ourselves. Yes, so we decided to do that. But
That sounds fascinating.
it.
That sounds,
hoping,
I mean, that's
I'm
what
hoping.
life is about.
You have to have, no, I don't say you have to. For me, I always have to have a plan. I don't care how short term it is. I don't make many long-term plans because I have learned the older that I get, the more things happen, and everything is subject to change at a moment's notice. And you have to be able to go with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me to make a plan a year out is a lot. And I had to do this plan, but normally I just have short-term plans, short-term goals, and most of the time too, very spontaneous. If I want to go to Chicago, I go to Chicago. If I want to drive to New York, we drive to New York. So,
But that is so, to me, you are living a life that many people cannot.
well, but it's not, it's by choice. It's the choices that I made to get where I'm at.
Okay.
You know, it was a plan in place. And people always say, well, I don't want to talk about what people always say because I don't really care what people say. Serious. I don't. I know what, you know.
Oh, whatever. You.
So, but my husband and I, we took a class, a 3-month class, and it had to do with investments. So we thought we'd put our fingers out in that a little
Okay.
bit, just to keep busy, to learn something new.
Well, I think that's the challenge as you do grow older, is the requirement to keep busy and to stay away from that television and stay away from situations that do not empower you, do not encourage you to grow and to embrace change. The failure to embrace change is probably one of the biggest things I have observed with people in my age group as they grow older. I'm like, you're not supposed to still be doing that. You need to do something else, you know?
Right, but it's, people get set in their ways.
They do.
You
And
know.
it seems to be hard to transition.
I think it is for them. They never want to, a lot of people don't want to ever come out of their comfort zone. It's their,
Safety spot,
right.
question mark. Yeah.
I know when I see women who are my age, I think to myself, thank you, God. But
Yes.
because I'm doing something, I'm on the go.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to make a difference in some of the things that I do. I do talking to empower women. I keep busy.
Well, I know you do. That's why I said I
keep-
was so grateful that you were willing to come on set, because you're a hard person to pin down. And you are always doing things, not lightweight things. You were actually doing things, and I felt it was very important to have you to talk openly. Why? Because I've watched you over the years. I was in Blue Ash when you were the police lady in your full garb, packing that gun. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, doing your rounds. And it was so, to me, it was just so wonderful to see that energy and to see just an awesome, gorgeous woman doing her stuff. And I said, that's the message that needs to be sent out today, which is that if you are focused on you instead of everyone else, and I'm not talking about being a narcissist, that's perverted. But if you can do that, my goodness gracious, what a positive force that is for our young women today, because they are behind us. And while some of them I think are doing marvelous, other ones I have some concerns about. So I appreciate your candor in talking about, in a brief period, because our time is up, about just what you're doing. Do you have any final words to say to our audience? Just look straight ahead and say what you got to say.
To all the women and young girls out there, make you first, always. Always strive to keep peace within, and always know that the only, how do I put this? There isn't anything that you can't do. Nothing. Never put limitations on yourself, ever. Just know who you are at all times. And believe in yourself. Believe in your capabilities.
But that's a mouthful. For those of you who have been participating in this interview vicariously, Karlene Krista is a woman of power, a woman of influence, and a woman who is a change agent. I'm delighted to have her on set today to share with you openly her story, her journey. There's a tremendous amount of wisdom that can be learned by looking at the steps of older women, of which I'm one, and I'm very proud to be. I would not relive those younger years for nothing in the world. Too much. I'm Michelle Graves, affectionately known throughout the United States for the last 30 years as the Money Lady. As always, it's a delight and pleasure to have you in my world as we share and explore issues of relevance to our viewers. Want to wish you only the very best. To the women, protect yourself. And I probably should say that to the men too, protect yourselves, because we are in some very challenging times. Look forward to having you back. And it's always, as I close out, I wish you love, peace, and be blessed. You take care. Bye-bye.